Hello, welcome to November Stargazing Guide for Tropical South. If you're living in the Tropical South or visiting the Southern Hemisphere savannas, this is your practical November Stargazing Guide to the night skies. In this video, we will use illustrations obtained from Stellarium app, but you can also access Stellarium on the internet through this address. The illustrations show the sky as it appears around 6 degrees south of equator, mid-November from 9 to 10 p.m. This guide is intended to serve viewers in urban areas where light pollution is high, as well as remote areas where light pollution is low. To facilitate this, we'll start by identifying bright objects and then use those objects to find dimmer objects. With this star hopping approach, you do not need to wait until you get a chance to visit dark sky areas because such a chance may be hard to come by. In addition, observing the sky in your light polluted neighborhood is a good way to prepare the objects to look for when you get a chance to visit dark sky area. If you are in urban area, just find the darkest spot you can, preferably where there are no direct lights, for better viewing. The main constellation chosen for November in this episode is Phoenix, the mystical bird, which is found straight south at the date and time of this guide. In the course of finding Phoenix, we'll see 3 more constellations, namely Grus, Tucana, and Piscis Austrinus. We'll also locate other objects in the southern sky, including the constellation Dorado and large Magellanic Cloud galaxy. In the northern sky, we will see the Great Square of Pegasus asterism with the associated constellations of Pegasus, the flying horse, and Andromeda, the princess. In the eastern sky, we will see the constellation Orion, the hunter, Taurus, the bull, and Auriga, the charioteer. We will also see the open cluster Pleiades. As we visit all these objects, we'll see several stars. Towards the end, we'll look at the position of planet Saturn in November 2025 in the western sky. Let us begin with finding Phoenix in the southern sky. Facing south, between the horizon and overhead, find distinctly bright star somewhere here. That star is Achernar, the 9th brightest star in the night sky, sometimes listed as 10th. It is a hot blue star located 139 light years away and rotates so fast to the extent that its shape is oval like an egg. Its luminosity is more than 3,000 times that of the sun. Achernar is in the constellation Aries, the river, so it is also known as Alpha Eridani. Now, if you raise your eyes in the slightly rightward direction, you will see a pair of stars looking like this. The one to the left is reddish and the other is whitish. Both stars are in the constellation Grus, the crane. The whitish one is the brightest in this constellation. It is called Alnair, while the other is the second brightest, called Taiki. Alnair is a blue-white star located about 101 light years away, while Taiki is a red giant located about 177 light years. Extending a line connecting Alnair with Taiki leftward, you will find another visibly bright star here. This star is called Ankaa, and it's the brightest star in the constellation Phoenix, the mystical bird. Ankaa is an orange giant located about 77 light years away. The rest of stars in this constellation are too dim to be seen in light polluted sky, so I will trace it out for you, and if you are in a dark sky area, you can trace it with me. Phoenix looks like this. The pair of stars here are in the constellation Grus, the crane. This constellation looks like this. Above Grus up here is a distinctly bright star called the Fomalhaut. Fomalhaut is the 18th brightest star in the night sky in the constellation Piscis Austrinus, the southern fish. Fomalhaut is much closer compared to the other stars we have seen in this area, only about 25 light years away. The shape of the constellation Piscis Austrinus looks like this, with Fomalhaut marking its mouth. Below Grus is a smaller constellation Tucana in the middle here. Phoenix, Grus, and Tucana are 3 out of the 4 southern birds. The 4th one, Pavo, the peacock, is partially below the horizon at the date and time of this guide. You can learn more about Pavo in my October video. Above the southeastern horizon here is a very bright star called the Canopus. This is the second brightest star in the night sky. It is a white supergiant lying about 360 light years away. Its brightness is 10,000 times that of the sun, and its radius 7 71 times that of the Sun. Canopus is in the constellation Carina, the keel of the ship. About 1/3 of the distance from Canopus to Achernar is the constellation Dorado, the dolphin fish, elsewhere referred to as swordfish. The stars forming the constellation Dorado are very faint, but it looks like this. The tail of the fish is pointing at the large Magellanic Cloud here, which you might be able to see if you are in a dark sky area. The Large Magellanic Cloud is a satellite galaxy to our home galaxy, the Milky Way, about 160,000 light years away. Before we leave the southern sky, let me show you one of my favorite personal star patterns in this area. I call it the Big Antenna. This is formed by 4 out of the stars we have seen, namely Achernar, Taiki, Alnair, Fomalhaut, and a 5th one which is below Taiki and Alnair here, called the Peacock. This forms a shape of rotated radio antenna symbol made up by connecting stars visible enough to be seen from light polluted sky. Asterisms are very useful for star hopping. Unfortunately though, there are not as many common asterisms in the southern sky as there are for the rest of the sky. So making up my own patterns has become very helpful for me to locate objects in this part of the sky. You may like to try this method, but do not be overexcited and create too many. That said, we may now turn to the northern sky. Facing north at the date and time of this guide, look slightly to the left and high up to find 4 stars of nearly similar brightness, forming a distinct square shape that looks like this. This is the Great Square of Pegasus asterism. The Great Square of Pegasus is part of the constellation Pegasus, the winged horse, which looks like this. At the right end of the square and in the right downward direction, we can draw a line to connect it with other 3 stars like this. At the middle of the extension we have just made are 2 dimmer stars that we can connect to get a T-shape like this. That is the constellation Andromeda, the princess. At the bottom of the T-shape here is Andromeda galaxy, our closest galactic neighbor, about 2.5 million light years away. Down below Andromeda is the M-shaped constellation Cassiopeia, the queen, here. Above Andromeda are 2 small constellations, Triangulum and Aries, the first zodiac constellation. To the right of Andromeda is the constellation Perseus, the hero. If you are a stargazer from the north, you might have noted that the constellations we have just seen in the northern sky look upside down. This is because as you travel south, the sky above you rotates northwards. So some of the objects visible in the southern sky from the northern hemisphere move to the northern sky when you get to the southern hemisphere. Such objects appear to be inverted, upside down and right side left, to stargazers from the north. Turning to the eastern sky, the end of the year or the Christmas show of bright stars is coming up. In front of you, find the 3 stars lined to form the Orion's belt asterism here. To the left are the bright stars forming the shoulders of Orion, the hunter here. And to the right are the bright stars forming the knees of the hunter. These stars and other less visible stars for urban viewers form the Orion constellation, which looks like this. From Orion to the left, in the northeastern sky, you will see a very bright star here. This is Capella, the brightest star in the constellation Auriga. In the neighborhood of Capella are 5 fairly visible stars that connect to form the shape of the constellation Auriga, the charioteer. Between Auriga and Orion, up here, is a bright reddish star called the Aldebaran. Aldebaran is the brightest star in the constellation Taurus, the bull, that looks like this. At the end of the projecting line from Aldebaran here is Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. In most places, Pleiades appear as a fuzzy patch of brightness to naked eye. It is an open cluster located about 444 light years away, containing more than 1,000 stars. Each of the objects we have talked about from the beginning to this point remains at fairly same position in the middle of November around 9 to 10 p.m. 6 degrees south of equator. This is because stars and galaxies are so far away, they do not seem to move at all in our lifetime. Planets, on the other hand, keep changing their position relative to other objects, which is the reason they were considered to be wanderers. In November 2025, the planet visible at the time of this guide is Saturn, the ringed planet. To see the planet Saturn, just turn west raise your eyes to almost overhead, you will see it as a yellowish, steadily shining object here. To confirm that you're looking at Saturn, you should be able to see the Great Square of Pegasus to your right here, the star Fomalhaut to the left here, and the antenna shape I mentioned in the southern sky looking like this. The permanent direction of planets' travel against the background objects in the sky is eastward. However, Saturn has been in retrograde since July 2025, meaning that it has been making that temporary reversal of direction since July. In November 2025 though, the retrograde motion will appear to slow down, stop in the last week of the month, and then gradually resume the eastward direction. That brings us to the end of our stargazing guide in the tropical south for November. It is my hope that you have found it helpful. If so, please like. I will also appreciate your comments. Thank you for watching.